Now friends, in order to proceed further and get started with database, definitely we will need to download a particular database and install it. And in this particular tutorial series, we would be making use of MySQL, and for doing so I have googled this MySQL query, and there are a couple of search results, out of which the first search result is MySQL website. So we will click on it. In here there are multiple tabs, out of which click on downloads tab. Now friends, MySQL comes with a community database version as well, but there are plenty of other products as well, and couple of them are also paid. So in here, if we scroll down, we have this option of community edition. So click on this link, community GPL downloads. So let's click on it, and the URL for this particular edition is dev.mysql.com/downloads. In here we have this first search result as MySQL community server. Let's click on this link and it will give us a community server page. In here there are couple of versions, and MySQL installer 5.7 is the current version at the time of recording, and we will make use of 64-bit version. And in here we have two versions, one is 32-bit and second one is 64-bit. We will choose definitely the 64-bit version of MySQL database, as we are making use of 64-bit based system. So let's click on download, and I suppose the download will start in a minute. Alright, so it will now ask you to log in into your Oracle account, or you can click on this particular link, no thanks, just start my download, which is definitely a quicker way. So we will click on this link, and I suppose the download should start in a minute. Now in here the net is pretty slow and the download got started, but as we cannot wait so long, I have already downloaded this particular community version for you guys in order to save some time. So let's cancel this download and let's check the setup. So here is the setup, and this setup is downloaded inside this downloads folder by Google Chrome. So let me execute the setup in order to install MySQL database, and we will run this setup definitely. Now the installer will ask you the setup type. Choose developer default setup type. Click on next. Now in here, these are the list of prerequisites which needs to be there, and in here there are couple of prerequisites which have these status manual, and there are couple of more requirement where the status is not there. Now where the status is blank, choose those requirements and click on these execute button. Now what this execute button will do, it will check the requirement on web, download the requirement and set the things up for you guys. So this is a very good thing. So I will click on this execute button. It will go to the internet and it will check the resource and try to download the prerequisite for us. The internet is pretty slow in here, so let us wait for a minute, and I will pause this video for a minute in fact. Now these kind of pop-up will appear in front of you guys in order to complete the installation, and this particular installation is for Visual Studio tools for Office 2010. Alright, so let us accept the agreement and let's go ahead and install these software. This may take a minute. In the meantime, let us also understand these rest of the prerequisite. Now these prerequisite where the status is manual, these are MySQL for Excel, MySQL for Visual Studio, MySQL for Python, and these three components we don't require in order to interact with database, because we are making use of JSP, which is nothing but Java, and these are different components. For example, we can connect MySQL database using Excel or Visual Studios or Python, so we can go ahead and skip these. So let us complete the installation of the Visual Studio tools for Office 2010, and once it is done, we will proceed further by skipping all these three prerequisites which are there. Alright, so the installation is complete. Let us click on finish. Now let us click on next, and it will give us a warning. Click on yes in order to continue. And now there are a couple of more things it will ask. Simply click on execute. It will start installing all these specific things one by one. This may take a minute, so let us pause this video and then we will proceed further once all these steps are taken automatically by the installer. So finally all these components are installed by the installer itself. Now let us proceed further. We will click on next and then ready to configure. Then click on next one more time, and now it should ask you a couple of networking stuff. Keep these as default, don't worry about these. Now again click on next. Now set the root password. The root password could be anything, and the minimum length of the root password is 4. Let us give a strong password in this case. Alright, so the password strength is strong because I have made use of smaller case, larger case, number and special characters all in combination. So the password strength is strong, and this is a good practice when you deploy your application in a real environment. So that's one thing. Let's click on next now, or we can also add a user in here. That would be rather a good thing. And the password would be like admin. This time I have added a weak password because I would like to make things handy for this particular user. So that's again one more thing. Now let us click on next. We will again click on next. We will keep everything as default, and let's click on execute. It will build couple of more things, and finally the installation is completing once this particular step is complete. So let's wait for one more minute. All right, so now everything looks good, and let's click on finish, and let's click on next once again. Everything looks good. Finally we will check the connection. Once the connection is successful, let's click on next. Again there are a couple of more configuration. All right, so I guess everything is done now. Let's click on finish. Perfect. All right, so now finally everything is in there. The MySQL database has been installed. We will check a couple of more things, and we will try to log in into the workbench in the next lecture. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.